want to talk about the game. I made a game. There's a game that I made, and it's all gamey, and I made it. Yes, for the longest time I've been working on a board game design among all the other creative things that I've been doing. It's sort of floated about in my mind for a long time, and we made some prototypes a long time ago, tested them out, polished them up a bit, but they weren't quite there, and we sort of every now and then I would pick it up again, but now we've properly polished it, we've put it together, we've made a proper prototype, and we're taking it to the UK Games Expo at the end of May. If you're unaware, the UK Games Expo is the biggest board gaming event in the UK. It takes place in Birmingham in the NEC. It is currently 2 massive halls full of various publishers and designers and anybody there displaying their games' works, people test playing, small publishers or big companies like with play areas for things, advertising all their wares, as well as a third hall which is going to be packed full of people just playing games. If you don't know, look up UK Games Expo or UKGE, it's sometimes referred to. Yeah, it's happening at the end of May. It's happening when we look at my calendar. The 31st of May and then the 1st and 2nd of June, those 3 days is when it is. So there's games happening all through the halls. There'll be games happening in all the hotels around. We'll be at the Hilton, and there's always games happening there as well. So it's a massive game. So there's often like a Viking LARP happening there as well outside, like in the courtyard area. There's usually a Viking LARP there, or some sort of LARP there. I think it's typically Vikings, but I don't know what's going to be there this time. There are mega games happening there, which will be happening in Hall 3 at the moment. We are in Hall 2. Hall 2, number 799A is our stall. 799A. We're actually next to Darrington Press, which is kind of cool. So we're right at the back of Hall 2, where the cafeteria is, next to Darrington Press and near where the stage area is. So that's where our little spot is, where we will be showing our game, the world premiere of the game that I've invented and my brother's done all the graphic design on, and we've test played like crazy people just over for years now. And that's the launch, the official launch. It's not currently on Kickstarter, but eventually it will be, and we'll be pushing it more and more. It's just, this is it's not the release. I guess launch is the correct word. It's basically the first time the game will be available to the public outside of our test play circles. So it's really going to be UK Games Expo trial by fire. We're going for the big boy first. We're not quite going to Essen. I haven't got plans to go to Spiel this year. That's quite a venture, but maybe next year I'll look into it. Hopefully we'll have the game sort of published and ready to go by then. But yeah, this is our big one this year, and then we'll hit various other festivals as the year goes on. But you're undoubtedly wondering, what the hell is this game? So the game is called Trouble on the Tempest. There is a link to the website in the description below, which is pretty bare bones at the moment, but we're going to slowly populate it with things. But yeah, it's called Trouble on the Tempest. It is a cooperative game where the players are moving about a spaceship board to try and put out fires and fix electrical faults and repair damage to fix their spaceship so that they can fly home. The gimmick is the ship also happens to be a time machine that has been rigged to cause localized time bursts, meaning that the players can time travel back to the beginning of the game once the disasters get too much for them, which they definitely will. We've ramped up the difficulty really high, so it's pretty much impossible to win the game straight out the gate. I imagine like some super brain person maybe could do it, but it's very unlikely. More often than not in the test play I've seen people get cocky and then the ship explodes. But you're almost certainly going to need to use the time travel mechanic where you time travel back to the beginning of the game. You reset the board back to the beginning of the game and try again. The thinking behind this was, I'm a big fan of Pandemic and similar kind of games, but there's often a point in those games where you have kind of a choice of like, well, if we do this or we can do this. I don't have time to do both, and one of those options might kill us. And one of those options might, win the game. Or you get to a point where you're like, oh, if only we had done this, if only we had gone over here, if only we had fixed Bogota instead of San Francisco or whatever. If we hadn't done that, we'd be in a winning position right now. So what if you could reset the game or go back in time in the game and try that outcome again and see if it would work? Obviously I know what you're thinking. I'm making a game that's way too easy here. You're just losing, you can just try again and again and again and again, and the game will go on forever until you win. Not true. Every time that you time travel, you draw a paradox card, and there's only a limited number of paradoxes that you can cause before the game ends, before the ship blinks out of existence and you have caused too much damage to the timeline. You are erased from existence and you have lost the game. So the game is very hard, but you have a limited number of time travel opportunities to go back and try again. The players have to gather the correct amount of information, remember the order that things are happening in, remember what's happening where, and how best to fix it, and then go back and try and get it right in repeated time jumps. We think it's a really neat, relatively unique mechanic that we haven't quite seen typed before, and there's a few elements of the design that I'm really proud of, and some things that just work in ways that I didn't really expect to work as well as they do. So I'm very I'm very optimistic about the game. I think it's a really solid little game. At the start of the game, the players draw a hyperdrive card. This represents the damage done to the hyperdrive, damage that must be fixed before the ship can be piloted home. Throughout the course of the game, players will be moving about the board, picking up equipment such as fire extinguishers and toolkits, or putting on items such as body armour or spacesuits. They'll be attempting to remove fires and fix electrical faults, all the while being hindered by the amount of damage the ship has taken, which blocks their movement. Their objective is to get to the hyperdrive and fix whatever is on the hyperdrive card. Once that's done, they can flip the card over, and then all they have to do is pilot the ship home to win the game. At the end of every round, they will draw a disaster card. This disaster card will place various problems on the board for them to deal with depending on the player count. Each disaster card refers to various locations of the board. At the start of the game, you shuffle up these number tokens and deal them out into the various locations. This allows for a wide variety of unpredictability and prevents anybody from game theorying or card counting the game. I'm particularly proud of this little design feature. And anytime the game gets too much, any player can go to the time drive and perform a time jump, resetting the board, putting a paradox card into the disaster deck, and then starting again afresh, hopefully with enough knowledge to try and win the game this time round. Once the Games Expo is out the way, we are looking to run this at a variety of events around London and Milton Keynes and other places that we have bases, and just kind of get the game out there and being talked about. If you want to sign up to our mailing list, you can follow the website, again link below, but I'll type it out here, and you can sign up to the mailing list there. Once the Kickstarter is up, that'll be available for you to look at as well and sign up to. And then we'll be selling the game through those methods. We've not run a Kickstarter before, so this is all very new to us. I've been to the UK Games Expo quite a lot, often as an exhibitor, often working with Blood on the Clock Tower, to run games there and promote that game. Not that it needs any promoting anymore because everyone knows and loves it. But yeah, I've often been to the UK Games Expo, so I'm very familiar with that territory, but I've never been there with my own little stall. This is quite an interesting and terrifying proposition. So thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe if you don't already. Keep an eye out for us at the UK Games Expo store. Hall 2 799A is our store number. We're right at the back by Darrington Press, which is the Critical Role publishing house. Please do come and play the game if you're at the UK Games Expo, and we'll be running it pretty much every hour. It takes when I say it takes about an hour-ish to play, 40 minutes to an hour, to do a quick demo run of it. But yeah, please do come and say hello if you're going to be there. It'll be fantastic to see you, and I'm really looking forward to it. Check out all my other videos, subscribe to all my other things, check out all the links below, and thank you for watching. The end.